Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window from this afternoon, and you can just see some flakes falling this about mid-afternoon this afternoon, and now a wide area of rain mixed with snow all across north central Washington. And as we make our way through tonight and into Wednesday, by the way, beautiful shot right here from our Sky-Fi tower camera up on Wenatchee Heights. We call it our cross camera. Now let's get back to the snow. We could see a ton of it overnight tonight and into Wednesday, especially for the mountainous areas. Stevens Pass could see 8 to 12 inches of snow overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So if you plan on traveling west, boy, you might want to rethink those plans because it's going to really come down. Cascade Crest could see up to 18 inches of snow. We're going to see some wet stuff too, and we'll tell you what variety here in the Wenatchee Valley coming up in a little bit in your weather forecast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. 2 Okanagan County Jail inmates are still at large following an early morning escape today. 4 juveniles were arrested after a drive-by shooting Sunday night in Moses Lake in which multiple shots were fired, but nobody was injured. And the December death of a Grant County Sheriff's officer has been attributed now to COVID-19. But first, we begin tonight. Police are investigating an armed robbery carried out at gunpoint Monday night outside East Wenatchee apartment complex. Chief Rick Johnson says they're still seeking that suspect. The robbery was reported at 10:19 p.m. outside the Colorado and River Street apartments. That's in the 200 block of 5th Street Northeast. The female victim told police she was getting out of a car when a male suspect, pointing a gun at the victim's head, pulled her hair and then shoved her to the ground before taking her cell phone and running east on 5th Street. He was described as approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall with a medium to chubby build, wearing black clothing with a black face mask and a hoodie sweatshirt. Johnson asked anyone with an active security camera in the area of this incident to contact the East Wenatchee Police Department at 663-9911. Well, a search has been launched for 2 inmates who escaped early this morning from the Okanagan County Jail in Okanagan. The sheriff's office didn't provide details on how the 2 men escaped, but said they're trying to identify a person or persons who may have helped them. The 2 escaped about 6:15 Tuesday morning. Being sought are 53-year-old Christian M. White of Rock Island and 28-year-old Christopher L. Whitman of Bellingham. White was in jail on charges that included assault, malicious mischief, hit and run, attempting to elude, and drug possession. Meanwhile, Whitman was incarcerated on multiple charges that included possession of a stolen vehicle, malicious mischief, and a previous escape attempt. Okanagan County Sheriff Tony Hawley said anyone who sees the men should not approach them but contact law enforcement immediately. 4 juveniles were arrested after a drive-by shooting Sunday night in Moses Lake in which multiple shots were fired, but nobody was injured. Moses Lake police say the shooting happened just after 10 p.m. on North Paxson Drive near West Valley Road. Using witness descriptions of the vehicle, Moses Lake police quickly located the suspects and reported finding 2 firearms. All 4 of the juveniles were booked into Grant County Juvenile Detention Facility on charges that included drive-by shooting and unlawful possession of a firearm. Well, the December death of a Grant County Sheriff's deputy has now been attributed to COVID-19. 60-year-old John Melvin was found dead in his home December 11th by fellow deputies after his family became concerned that they were unable to reach him. Grant County Sheriff Tom Jones said Monday that it's been confirmed he died from coronavirus. Jones said his office is planning a future public ceremony to honor Melvin, who planned to retire next year after 36 years of service. Coming up next, state health officials say flu cases and transmission in Washington is unusually low, and that may have to do with COVID-19. The state Supreme Court says Douglas County must reconsider a 2018 custody case involving foster care of indigenous children. The Wenatchee School District is on schedule to return 4th graders to classrooms next Monday for half-day in-school instruction. And the state legislature is set to reconvene on Monday with remote committees, testimony, and floor action only. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
Welcome back. In another news, state health officials say flu cases and transmission in Washington is unusually low, and that may have to do with COVID-19. 0 medical specimens tested by public health laboratories proved positive for influenza during the last week of 2020. For the same week in 2019, more than 550 specimens turned up strains of influenza A or influenza B. There have also been no reported flu outbreaks in long-term care facilities during the current flu season. The Department of Health says because of COVID-19 precautions, the data may not accurately reflect flu cases, but wearing a mask and social distancing is known to reduce the risk from both viruses. The state Supreme Court says a Douglas County judge must re-examine a custody case that removed 2 Native American children from their mother. The woman lost custody of her 3- and 4-year-old children last year after the Department of Children, Youth, and Families sued to end her parental rights. The children's father is a member of the Northern Arapaho Tribe of Wyoming. The Supreme Court says DCYF did not comply with the Washington State Indian Child Welfare Act aimed at preventing the breakup of Indian families. The children must now be returned to their mother unless Judge Brian Huber decides doing so would endanger their health and welfare. The Wenatchee School District is on schedule to return 4th graders to classrooms next Monday for half-day in-school instruction. Public Information Officer Diana Haglund said the district remains on schedule for returning all grade levels in the hybrid format by January 26th. Haglund said there was a limited number of new coronavirus cases reported for student and staff following the winter break, but the district will continue to monitor rates weekly and adjust as necessary. The district reported today that in the past 2 weeks, 4 students and 4 staff members from 4 different schools have tested positive for COVID-19. 5th graders are scheduled to return to classes January 20th and middle and high school students on January 26th. Well, floor votes and committee hearings will look a lot different when the Washington State Legislature reconvenes next week. Senators and representatives will vote Monday on new rules that enable them to carry out business via remote meetings and let citizens testify the same way to avoid the risks of the pandemic. Once that's done, legislators will have to take up questions of an estimated $3.3 billion budget shortfall, Governor Jay Inslee's proposed capital gains tax on sales in stocks, bonds, and other assets, and a statewide corporate payroll tax, among other issues. Once in session, the legislature continues its work through April 25th. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
My name is Anaisa Lemus, and I teach at John Newberry Elementary. I had a tooth in the front that was just always causing me problems. It was just happening so regularly. I went to go get a root canal done, and the root canal didn't help a whole lot because when it came back, both of my parents went to Dr. Divis's office. They really recommended him because he had done such a great job on their teeth. I went and really have had a really pleasant experience with him. He just made me feel really at ease with everything. He was really confident with what he was doing. He said, this is one of his favorite parts of his job, which really made it easier for me because, when you're really passionate about something, they're going to do a good job. As a teacher, my students, I'll tell them randomly sometimes, oh yeah, with my fake tooth, they're always so shocked. Like, what? It looks like your real tooth. And I'm really happy with the results now.
This is Dr. John Divis. Please call us today.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's feature story, statewide hospitals are about 87% capacity during the COVID-19 pandemic. But so far, the holidays don't seem to have contributed greatly to new hospitalizations. That could change, but the Washington State Hospital Association and its member hospitals say right now they're not seeing a severe growth in new admissions, which might have been expected after people gather for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And the good news is that hospital capacity is in the main remaining pretty steady. In some places, even seeing a little bit of a decline. There's a few places where there is growth in COVID patients. I think Southwest Washington is one. Pierce County looks like there's a bit of a growth, but in a lot of areas around the state, it's either stable or declining. So we're probably not quite to where we would see a full Christmas surge, but I think we would have seen some of it by now. And so we are hopeful that people really did follow the governor's orders around Christmas, and we did not get a big surge out of Christmas. We obviously don't know anything about a New Year's surge yet, but we did not have a giant Thanksgiving surge. We had a bit of one, but not giant, not nearly as much as other states. So I think it's worth starting with an enormous thank you to Washingtonians for what we're seeing right now, which looks like people did stay home and did keep themselves distant and keep wearing their masks. And we look on, honestly, with horror about what's happening in hospitals in places like El Paso and Southern California, and do not want that to happen here. The peril it creates for people with both COVID and other healthcare conditions is enormous. And so the Washingtonians' willingness to have quiet holidays so far seems to be working. So really just want to start with that message of appreciation.
It's challenging because through even the holiday week, I think people tend to not choose to come on in and get care sometimes with things that they may outside of a holiday season. That's why our volumes tend to drop a little bit. And so what I would say is that this next week will really be, I think, telling from the Christmas week, and then over the next 2 weeks from the overall, holiday weeks, with the potential for folks having traveled come back and then, get diagnosed and tested. The statewide database tends to lag through the holidays. And so even the testing numbers, I think, are off a little bit. And again, will stabilize again in the next week or two and be probably a little bit more reliable. Our hospital numbers through the state, though, are still plateauing.
Hospitals are almost always this full this time of year with the respiratory season. So 87%, it's worth watching. Is it something that we are really, sort of panicked about? No, but it's certainly worth watching. And again, back to that point of, if we could move out the 10 to 20% of hospital patients who don't have an acute medical need, you'd see that number drop pretty significantly.
All right, let's take a look now at your North Central Washington weather forecast. As always, before we get to those details, another peek outside our weather window. Yeah, and that next storm system moved in on us by mid-afternoon today. Flakes of snow flying around the greater Wenatchee Valley. This shot from our Wenatchee Heights Sky-Fi Tower camera, our cross camera. And it's coming down pretty good all across North Central Washington, a mix of rain and snow, and expect that to continue through tonight and maybe even through tomorrow morning. We'll get to that in a second. But high temperature today, just like yesterday, 36. Actually, yesterday we ticked up a couple of degrees after the news to about 38, but 36 unofficially today. 32 is normal. 31 mild overnight low degrees this morning. 23 is our normal low temperature. 50 record high back in 1982. Record low 8 below, and that was in 2004. Updated precipitation total once again. We haven't picked up anything per se that I could see yet. That'll change tomorrow, but we're at 0.3 of an inch now from January 1st through today. Sunrise 7:48, sunset this afternoon at 4:25. As we get you into your hump day Wednesday, as I mentioned a bit ago, it could be a bit wet in the morning. Be very careful tomorrow as you make that morning commute. Then we'll warm up lower to mid 40s in the Columbia Basin, so a little bit warmer to our east, and then mainly middle to upper 30s in the greater Wenatchee Valley. Wenatchee at 39, Leavenworth 37, and Chelan, the high temperature tomorrow of 39 with clearing skies in the afternoon. Surface loop time. Tonight we'll begin with wind, and look at all of that wind out in the Pacific. Some of that will shear up the west coast as this large storm system continues to make its way through. We have an 80% chance of rain mixed with snow through tonight and into our early morning hours. By the time we get into Wednesday, I just mentioned there is a chance for a 50% chance for a morning rain or snow shower. Could be slick in the morning, so be very careful with that. Mostly cloudy then by tomorrow afternoon. As we get you into Thursday, things will calm down a little bit. Actually, a really nice day for Thursday with partly cloudy skies, calm wind conditions, and you can see all of those mild temperatures in the green and light green. Those are all 40-degree temperatures, and we should see that. For Friday, mostly cloudy. We could see isolated early morning showers, and then most of that will move off to the north and northeast. It will remain on the mild side for Friday, and then the all-important weekend. The first day of it on Saturday, mostly cloudy, really not too bad. I think we'll see peaks of the sun at times on Saturday. It still will be mild, but a little bit more of that cold air will creep in. So we're talking mainly upper 30s for Saturday. Sunday, even a little bit cooler because we'll have mostly cloudy skies. A 20% chance for a late day, early evening rain or snow shower. Most of that, I think, will once again stay to our north. And then as we kick off our next work week on Monday, mostly cloudy skies. That's the next band of showers that's moving in from the southwest. We will see a 40% chance of rain or snow with high temperatures Monday. Once again, still above normal into the mid and upper 30s. Let's take a look now at your 7-day forecast. Tonight will be a mild one with all those clouds and rain showers. 33, 39 tomorrow. Not a morning rain or snow shower. Careful once again on that morning commute. 29 our low. 38 for Thursday and quiet. Should be a really nice day for Thursday. We'll stay in the mid to upper 30s Friday and Saturday with just isolated showers. A bit cooler Sunday and 36. And then for Monday, 40% chance for showers. High temperature then of 37. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging in Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
In a world afraid of technology, one man, one show will bring you the newest innovations that may just change your life. This summer, Ray McNeil, and your Weekly Tech Update is your Weekly Tech Update with Ray McNeil.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. The Gonzaga women's basketball team continues to play well, upending Pacific 79-59 at West Coast League action last night. Jen Worth led the way with the Bulldogs with 26 points, while Sierra Walker and Melody Kempton each had 11. 21st-ranked Zags improved to 9-2 overall, 4-0 in WCC play. They're off until Saturday when they'll host Portland. In fact, let's check the schedule for the week in women's college basketball. Friday in Pac-12 play, Washington State hosts Arizona State at 4 o'clock. Number 7 Arizona is at Washington at 8. As we mentioned, Gonzaga will host Portland Saturday at 2 o'clock. Then on Sunday, Arizona and WSU tip at 11 a.m. with the Huskies and Sun Devils at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll have to wait until Thursday for the resumption of the men's college basketball schedule. That's when Washington State plays at Cal at 4 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. Washington plays at Stanford at 6 on FS1. Number 1 Gonzaga hosts Santa Clara at 6 on Thursday night, and you can watch that on Root Sports. Saturday action gets underway at noon on the Pac-12 network with Washington at Cal. Gonzaga travels to Portland at 5. Finally, 6:30 back on Pac-12 network. WSU plays at Stanford. Well, the Seahawks will host the Rams Saturday in the first round of the playoffs, and they could be without 2 important players on defense. Coach Pete Carroll was on 710 ESPN Monday morning and said Jamal Adams and Jaron Reed are both questionable for Saturday. Carroll said Adams suffered an injury to his left shoulder in the fourth quarter of Sunday's win over San Francisco. Carroll said, quote, he's real disappointed. He wants to play. He wants to get out there. He hasn't been to the playoffs, and he wants to be part of it, and all that. It kind of crushed him. He's very emotional and all, and he's going to deal with it, end quote. Reed suffered an oblique injury strain and is also questionable for Saturday. Carroll said, quote, he's pretty sore. He's had this injury before. We don't know how difficult it'll be to come back. I don't know that, but he will be pretty uncomfortable, or else make that he was pretty uncomfortable last night. That's the quote from Coach Pete Carroll. Well, Seattle enters the playoffs for the 8th time in the last 10 seasons. 2 of its players are being heralded for their records this year. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both broke franchise records on Sunday. Metcalf set the mark for single-season receiving yards with 1,291, the record by Steve Largent that he'd held since 1985.
The pass has a look, goes down the middle, Largent at the 45.
I feel like Mike.
DK Metcalf dives into the end zone.
Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning.
Greg, a play fake, back the pass in the end zone.
Nike bag, give me the check. I need the money and power, respect, but I promise I'm repping the O to the dead. Hey, I sort them out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't run at my pace. They know that we ain't the same.
Metcalf now has broken Steve Largent's franchise record. Most receiving yards in a single season. That record going all the way back to 1985. Congratulations, young man.
The other record set Sunday was by Tyler Lockett. The 6th-year player out of Kansas State surpassed Doug Baldwin and Bobby Ingram for the single-season receptions record with 100.
It's Lockett. He's in. Touchdown, Seahawks. Nice play by Tyler Lockett. Lockett makes the catch. 40, 45 blockers in front. There's a dart inside. Guess who? Caught by Tyler Lockett. And it's Tyler Lockett who makes the catch. Big first down again. Tyler Lockett with another big play tonight. Tyler Lockett will not let the play die. He will keep his quarterback safe. Tyler Lockett crossing the field. Got a man near side. It's Tyler Lockett again. He turns upfield. Wide open in the back of the end zone. Tyler Lockett. Touchdown, Seahawks. Now he throws. Got a man. It's caught. Tyler Lockett. Who else? Lockett makes the catch. Throw inside. Goes to Lockett, and he's got a first down and then some. This has been the Tyler Lockett show with another big reception. Lockett reaches up with one hand and makes an unbelievable catch. Downfield. Tyler Lockett is out there. Lockett makes the catch in the end zone. When you need a first down, you look for 16. One highlight film. Tyler Lockett with a huge catch. Number 16 now with a franchise record, and he's just going to add to it. How does he get open? How does he do that? Tyler Lockett is amazing.
Yes, he is. The record breakers will have to step up Saturday against the Rams if the Seahawks hope to reach the promised land this year. Now, if you're a Seahawk fan like me, something that came up about the game this weekend that has me a little nervous. Likely Seahawks will face Rams backup quarterback John Wolford under center Saturday in the NFC wildcard playoffs. If that makes you nervous, here's a look at how they've fared against backups the past 3 seasons. Going back to 2018, Seattle has faced backup quarterbacks either as starters or in-game substitutions 12 times. In those games, the Seahawks are 9-3. However, backups have had fairly good numbers against Seattle's defense. They've completed 67% of their passes for 2,681 yards. They've thrown 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Seattle's also sacked backups 19 times in those 12 games. Their average quarterback rating has been over 90. Now, John Wolford led the Rams past Arizona last weekend in a must-win game to get to the playoffs. It was Wolford's first ever game in the NFL. After throwing an interception on his first pass, Wolford completed 22 of 38 for 231 yards, led the Rams in rushing with 56. Let's hope the backup does not fare well this Saturday. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric, and no worries, Seahawks got this one. Now let's check in for Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. Valley, People of Our Past has been going on for about 20 years or so now. It's put on by the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. Local thespians assume the roles of pioneers in the Wenatchee Valley. People of Our Past is back again this year. It's going to be virtually done, of course, in this COVID world that we live in. And we'll talk to a couple of the people participating in the People of Our Past presentation, which rolls its doors open virtually this Thursday. So join me for those interviews. Very informative. That'll be on Wednesday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley and everything else you need to start your Wednesday, which is right here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. Live and local, Wake Up Wenatchee Valley tomorrow morning at 7. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. And now let's wrap it up. It's with that'll do it. How about this? That'll do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at NCWLIFE.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@NCWLIFE.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kerry Condata. This is the 12th District TV show, aired 8 times every week on NCWLIFE TV. We cover business and politics like no one else does it because I've been there and done it. 30 years self-employed, 16 years in the House of Representatives, and 12 years running campaigns across the state of Washington. That resume means you're getting information you can't get anywhere else. This is the 12th District. I'm Kerry Condata.
From the ocean to the mountains to the forest in between, vacation time can be a fun time. But not if your car breaks down. Call Global Car Care today. Have a service approved over $150 on your vehicle, and Global Car Care will donate an oil change service to one of our local heroes at Confluence Health. Look for more incentives online. Global Car Care cares about their community.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellingson here from Live It Up. Join us every week as we answer your questions on health, wealth, and relationships.
We're all about you creating a life that you love, so tune in to Live It Up.